This is the voice of the New York Football Giants, Bob Papa, and you are listening to the best throughout Europe, the Big Blue UK and Ireland podcast.
Welcome back, Giants fans, to the latest edition of the Big Blue UK and Ireland podcast. As always, we are proudly in association with Andy's Man Club. Let's remember, it is okay to talk. And tonight we are 67% British, 33% Irish. And as always, we're still 100% Giants. And we're now only 2 short weeks away from the draft in 2026. And we're back to continue our breakdown of the boys' top fives at each position. This week, switching back to offense, we're going to talk running backs. We're going to talk wide receivers. And there's some guy from a college you like, Kev, that we're going to be talking about, no doubt, at some point. Yeah. Joining me to go through all that, plus all the latest news as well. Kev, Aaron, boys, how are we doing?
Oh, I'm loving it.
So, good. Can you hear me? Sorry, I've got to test this out. Can you hear me okay?
Perfect.
I'm really sorry, lads. I feel really flustered. How are you getting on, Aaron?
Really good. And, you know, the Harbour era is officially here. We're officially underway with players meeting their coaches properly. And even better, none of that defensive chat anymore. We're fully on to the offensive players now. Offense is the best, as we all know. And we can talk about all of...
Defense wins championships.
Yeah, but offense is show, isn't it? So this is where the really enjoyable discussion.
Defense for dough, yeah.
And yeah. But you know, I like a bit more show. So I really love some of the prospects that we get to talk about tonight. And I particularly, this is tonight. You'll hear the my guy of my guys. Like if I could only have one my guy, you're going to hear about him tonight.
Interesting. More to come later. Kev, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, man, I'm all flustered, like I said. I don't know if my internet's holding up okay. I don't know if this headset's working okay. I am all over the shop, lads. But rushed in from work. I am here, and I'm here to talk some Giants football, some additions today, some draft, some trade talk, which I didn't want to talk about, but I'm sure we'll get into everything.
Trade talk?
Just glad to be on with you boys.
Trade talk, you say? Interesting. More on that to come shortly. Yeah, exactly that. But yeah, more on that to come shortly. Looking forward to this evening. I said 2 weeks away from the draft. It's almost make or break time, really. You know, the front office are going to be talking draft plans at this point. Obviously, we've got the off-season workouts in progress as we speak as well. So it's all go at the moment. And yeah, there's a few little snippets of news that we're going to go through in a minute. There's a pretty big one in there as well. And I'm fairly certain that someone on this show this evening has a little bit of a rant to go on about something. So we'll come on to that shortly. But if you are watching live on YouTube, X, Facebook, whichever platform you're on, get involved in the comments. Send us your questions. Also, who do you like on offense this year in the draft? And let us know your opinion as well. If Jeremiah Love's still there at 5, do you take him or not? Let us know. Do you go with him? Get your answers in the comments. Don't forget to like the episode, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already. And for audio listeners, leave us a review on your podcast platform of choice. Aaron, how many stars?
Well, the same as the Giants pick, of course. 5 stars.
Absolutely. Pick 5 stars. There we go. And you can also now buy us a coffee or a beer or a soft drink or a can of pop, whichever you want to do. QR code is on the screen. There we go. Scan that QR code. Takes you to our Buy Me a Coffee page, buymeacoffee.com/Big UK Ireland. You can find the link also down in the description as well for all those that listen on the audio version. The link is in the description on the podcast. Buy us a drink. You know, we're all meeting up in a couple of weeks for the draft, so it'd be nice to celebrate pick number 5 with a couple of bevies or coffees because it'll be late at night at that time. So there we go. It's the love will be well received. Put it that way. Thanks, Dave. Looks good, doesn't it? Huh? Yeah. The draft hat is here. Bush. Yeah, it looks good.
Just noticed that. Very smart this year, aren't they?
My head is getting really hot though, like super hot. So I might actually have to take it off any minute now, because it is currently nearly 25 degrees in this room, and I'm sweltering.
As soon as it goes over 20 degrees outside in the UK, we all panic about it being too hot. It's we're melting down. We're not we're not prepared for this weather like Bobby Skinner is down in Florida. We are not prepared for warm weather, and they can say 20 degrees Celsius, not particularly warm, but yeah, I've got the fan on for the first time this year because we can't handle the heat.
Melting. It doesn't help. There's 1,000 layers of insulation in our houses. So as soon as the heat's in the house, it doesn't disappear. So once you've got a hot house, you're fucked basically. Yeah, so it's kind of warm. The bedroom window, the window is wide open, as wide as it would go, and of course there's no breeze, so there's nothing coming in. It's just still humid, hot air. So I'm going to have to take this out very shortly, but it does look pretty sweet, I must say. First up, then, as always, is the news. And there's only really one place we can start off, and that's the news that dropped on Monday that Dexter Lawrence has requested a trade away from the Giants, and therefore won't be participating in the off-season workout program. Over the past 2 seasons, Dex and the Giants have sort of attempted to negotiate a contract extension. There's not really been any progress on that, or to get that deal done over the last couple of years. And so we now end up at this point where he's requested a trade away. And the narrative seems to be that it's a move to get his contract extension done, that little bit of leverage. And the figures that are being suggested would make him only one of 2 defensive tackles in the league that are on $30 million, or more per year, with obviously Chris Jones. He's on 31, almost 32 million APY. So Dex is obviously wanting to be one of the top 2 paid defensive tackles in the league. And in all honesty, it doesn't surprise me. The impact he's had on the team in the last few years. Granted, last season wasn't as great, but there's probably reasons behind that. Obviously, with the in-house stuff with Dabes and the Abdul Carter discipline stuff didn't really go down very well, and it almost feels like if he tried to have an impact, no, he wasn't being listened to. So. Yeah, I think on the grand scheme of things, the fact that he's wanting more than $30 million a year, I'm not surprised in the slightest. There's been plenty of trade scenarios thrown out there as well. The Giants supposedly aiming for at least a first-round pick. You would expect a minimum of a first-round pick for him, plus other compensation as well, because he's a game changer. He's an absolute wrecking ball, like we've said multiple times on this podcast in the past. And just because he had a season where he didn't put the numbers up that he has previously, you look at the amount of times he's been double and triple teamed, and you kind of understand why. Like his numbers maybe dropped off a little bit, and I've seen scenarios on X pretty much involving every other team in the league. The Jets, Bengals, Ravens, like the 49ers. A trade involving Brandon Ayuk. And it just every team's thrown out there like would you Chicago, there's been so many teams like touted to be in the market for him, but it all comes down to cost at the end of the day. And would any team really be able to, obviously pay him the money he wants? Obviously he's got 2 years left on his contract, but he's wanting an extension, and I think realistically at this point, there's kind of only one option really. Okay, I'll come to you first. Like, do you think this is a serious play to get a move away from the Giants, or do you think, in your opinion, is it that sort of bait and is it that sort of leverage to get Joe Shane to work out any deal for him?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this all day, and just trying to jot down some notes and thoughts and stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe a little bit of both. I mean, like Dexter Lawrence. Let's talk about Dexter Lawrence, right? He isn't just a good player; he's one of the faces of the franchise. He's the most dominant player on our roster over a prolonged period of time. He's a guy that fans trusted through all the rebuilds that we've had since he's been at the team. Now, like you said, does a trade request signal from him that there's something deeper than money, right? This is the two things I'm trying to weigh up. Like, it could show discontent with direction, the culture, lack of trust in the leadership that he has. I mean, if someone like Dexter is unhappy, like, you know what he's like. He's such a fun-loving guy and blah, blah. So if he's really unhappy, then does this mean like something's fundamentally broken with the franchise and he's like wanting to get out? I mean, he's been through recently like new GM, new coach, new schemes, new identity. It seems like it's a new everything every 2 or 3 years. And players will get tired of that. Like he's played under, what is it? He's played under Joe Judge, Brian Dable, now John Harbaugh, not to mention multiple defensive coordinators, multiple defensive philosophies. I mean, surely there's got to be a bit of organizational fatigue setting in at this point with him. I mean, you know, Denard Wilson's come in and he wants his defense to be unpredictable, be dynamic, decisive, unapologetic, I think is one of the words he used. He said, you know, does he fit his scheme? And for me, I would say it's Dexter Lawrence, one of the top 2 interior defensive linemen in the whole league. You make your scheme fit him. You know, he's that good a player. Like, he's such a force to be reckoned with. Like, you fit your scheme around the best players. And like you alluded to as well, the Chris Jones reset the market at 31.5 average per year. You know, Quinton Williams got paid. The Giants kind of got a really good deal, like a really good deal with him. And yes, Dexter Lawrence did sign that deal. But like for his production over the last 4 or 5 years, like he's the 11th in annual average value at 20 million per year. Like it kind of feels like he's got to the point where him and his agent have been trying to negotiate for 2 years of trying to get a better deal. And it just feels like the Giants slow playing everything, and he's just got fed up. So he's kind of looking at, you know, you were so quick to give Daniel Jones 40 million per year. Like, I mean more to this franchise than players like that ever have. So surely pay me what I'm worth. And like, also like, he's a locker room guy. He's universally respected. He's a tone setter. He's a guy that young players follow. Like, you know, a trade request from him is so bad as well for the organization. It kind of shows young players and potential free agents that this isn't the place to come and win. If he's given a trade request to wanting to get out. So then I start to worry about Brian Burns and other senior players. What's their reaction going to be? Like, are the young players going to start questioning the direction of this franchise? You know, John Harbaugh's come in and wants to change everything. You know, this sort of puts a little bit of water on that fire that we kind of like had since John Harbaugh's come in. And let's be honest as well, let's talk about the position. It's not a sexy position, I know that. But you can get pass rushers. You can find corners. You can find receivers. You cannot find another Dexter Lawrence that easily, in my opinion. I mean, what was that? I made a note here earlier. Like, does trading him now, is that a sign of us waving the white flag for this coming season? Like, in the sense that, all right, we're going to try and bring picks in and build for the future. So, like, you know, then what does that say to the team now that we're not going to win right now? We're collecting assets to build for the future, which I don't think is a good way to go. And like, so it's like three sort of paths, I think, like written them down here. Like the Giants cave and pay him, which is what I want. Path B, where like we trade him, we bring in assets, and Harbaugh gets to reshape the roster and moves on and resets the culture, but that's so long term. Or is there a holdout in minicamp and then a deal kind of gets done closer to the season, but that doesn't help anyone? For me, I would like them to stop messing around. Like Joe Sheehan can be criticized for a lot of things. His trades, I think, is very good. Some of his acquisitions, very, very good. But he always seems to come out with the best of the deal, like which is good in most times, but not this time. Like, pay Dexter Lawrence, give him a new contract. He's 28, going on to be 29 this season. Interior defensive linemen can play well into the 30s. We've seen that. Look how well Calais Campbell's been playing. The guy's nearly 40.
Yep.
So, like, give him a deal, appropriate deal. Like, does it have to? I don't think he wants to reset the market at 32, but try and meet him in the middle in the sense of 28, 29, and maybe push to 30 if you have to. Give him a 3-year deal, maybe a 4-year deal where you can get out. He's got no guaranteed money after going forward now. So it's just off salary. So for me, get it done. Dexter Lawrence cannot be treated, in my opinion. Swallow your pride a little bit. Maybe a Ponte comes in and helps negotiate this deal. But I would like to get something sorted before the draft. And I think like it's actually a good time as well because like that this has come in. This is a player and an agent that's had enough, and this is the last resort, and this is the only chip they've got to play because the Giants have 2 years left on his contract. So I think like, you know, if you're going to trade him, it's a good time to get something for him for this draft, but try and get it sorted out before the draft so we're not going in with the uncertainty on the draft weekend of do we need to get not just one interior defensive lineman, but we have to get another one because we've had to trade Dexter Lawrence. So in my opinion, get a deal done, keep the man. He's a tone setter. He's a face of the franchise. He's a player players look up to. He's a player fans can rally behind. We haven't had many of those over the last few years. So please, Giants, just get it done. Rant over. Thank you.
Aaron, do you think, was it a surprise to you that that announcement came that he requested a trade, considering the fact that his contract's been talked about over the last couple of years? Or do you think like that Shane and Harbaugh expected it to come at some point?
It wasn't a surprise at all. We knew last season he was unhappy with his contract. The idea of why he would want more money. It's really clear. Players don't like playing on contracts with no guaranteed money. If he gets injured, if he was to do an ACL this season, the Giants could cut him with nothing, and he gets nothing for the next year, right? So I completely understand where Dexter is coming from. Ignore last season. It wasn't up to his normal standard. He was still a top 10 defensive tackle in the league, right?
Exactly that.
Yeah, he's still a top 10 defensive tackle in the league. He wasn't an all-pro last season, right? And we're complaining, right? We're not paying him as an all-pro at the moment with his current APY. I would reset the market. And you know why I would reset the market? Because I'd get it done now. Because in 2 years' time, it's not market setting, right? It's not going to be market setting. And you know what? In 2 years' time, you can trade him for more than you're trading for him now, even with the contract. Doing the contract doesn't make him untradeable, right? No. You can get some salary cap relief this year by doing a restructure at the same time as well, which can open up a few more options on the roster, especially if you've still got concerns at right guard, which I still do, despite the signings this week. You can kind of think. I don't think this is surprising. I was doing a few stick to the models pre-free agency, and every single time I was looking to extend and restructure Dex. It was a no-brainer for me this offseason. Yeah. Why wouldn't you pay the player who is a standout? I posted something in the chat where it's got pressures from the defensive tackle position since 2022, and it's Dexter Lawrence, a whole lot of nothing.
108 pressures at nose tackle since 2022,
and the next person's in the 30s.
32 Vita Vea.
Yeah. So he is in a league of his own as a pass rush person. I understand that maybe his run stuffing hasn't been the thing, but play him as a 3-tech and bring in a proper nose. Bring in the old school 2-gap nose to be the run stuffer, the 2-down lineman, and then on passing downs, take the nose tackle run stuffer off and bring Darius Alexander on as the other D tackle, right? But Dexter Lawrence, you look at how bad the Giants were when Dexter Lawrence wasn't on the field in terms of run defense. It got worse. You got to see how bad the Giants were when Dexter Lawrence wasn't on the field in pass defense. It got worse. So despite him having a down year, he was still a dominant factor for the New York Giants. And I don't think you go into any rebuild without him. And like I said, if you do give him a contract and he doesn't hit all pro level, he's still tradable. The contract won't make him untradeable. Even at a reset in the market type money, he's got plenty of years of play ahead of him. He's not a running back. He's not a wide receiver. He doesn't rely on pure explosion to win. He should have a successful career into his mid-30s comfortably.
Yeah, easily. And I think, I mean, I've said it in multiple chats this week. Just pay the man. Give him the money he wants. Get it done. Get it done now. Simple. Don't even question it. Just get it done. Because without a shadow of doubt, he is one of the most disruptive defenders in the league. He's probably the best player we have on the entire roster right now. You know, granted, you've got talent on the offense that are still young, but Dexter Lawrence has been there and he's proven it and he's done it. And that one stat for me, the 108 pressures at nose tackle since 2022, and the next highest player is 76 pressures behind him. That says everything. And Denard Wilson should be building his defensive scheme around Dexter Lawrence. Not how can we fit him in our scheme. He should be building it around Dexter Lawrence. Pay the man. He's the face. Granted, Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterboo, Malik Neighbors, but realistically, he's the face of the franchise right now. And he's been there for so long, and he deserves the money. Fuck it, pay him $35 million a year if you have to. You know what I mean? Reset that market, because next year that market could be more, and the year after, because the salary caps continues going up. Just give him his money. He deserves it at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'd like to see as well, like going into the next season. Last year, he was injured. That elbow, that arm was a major factor, more so than he was letting on.
All year as well.
And he was so unhappy. He was in every interview. He's sick of losing as well. He's sick of losing. He's been sick of his contract situation. Give him the money that he deserves. Get him back fully fit, and watch him flourish this season.
Yeah, exactly that. You know, and the fact that he is still only 28, going to be 29 when the season comes around. You know, he's still got a long time ahead of him in his career. Just give him the money.
You know, I think the way the coaching staff babied him last season as well, like he was overweight coming out of camp, right? He's a big guy, but he was overweight, and you can't have that. You know, I know he was injured, but he was allowed to have a lot of practices off in the preseason. He didn't come in fighting shape, as it were, and that showed. And I think, you know, another reason to get the contract done as soon as possible, to get him in for the off-season program. You don't want this dragging on through weeks in training camp. You know, get it done, get him in. And you know, speaking of Denard Wilson, obviously there was some comments from him about in the press conference, and he'd say he's going to be very multiple with his defense. He's going to build the defense around his players. So regardless of whether you think he's a scheme fit or not, it sounds like the scheme is going to be adapted to the talent that we've got. And when you've got a defensive line with the players that we've got, Kayvon included, while he's still here for sure for now, you can cause chaos with that defensive front. And Dex is the middle stone, as John Harbaugh said at the owners the owners meeting last week.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, also obviously day one of our off-season workout program began yesterday. All but 3 players attended. Dex for obvious reasons. Sam Roberts just had surgery, so he can't travel because he's got stitches and they've not cleared him to travel. And Paulson Adebo, no reason given.
He was pictured on a beach somewhere.
Well, obviously on holiday, enjoying himself. John Harbaugh's comments about it was interesting, though. He said, it's his right, it's his reason. Whatever his reason is, I'll be interested to hear it. So, not a good way to impress your new head coach, right?
Yeah, and the coaches have to be very careful because the NFLPA will come and hit back very hard if they suggest that these voluntary workouts aren't voluntary. But when 73 of the 76 players under contract turn up,
including Cam Scatterboot and Malik Neighbours, who are both rehabbing serious injuries.
Yeah.
And I think I read somewhere as well, maybe it was Dan Duggan or one of the other people that said, this is the most mandatory, non-mandatory minicamp. When you have someone like 100%. John Harbaugh as your head coach coming in, and it's the first time you get your hands on the new playbook, you have to be there, whether it's mandatory or not, you have to be there, get this thing rolling, give yourself the best chance. I don't know, Adil, I don't know what's going on, man. That photo was taken a couple of days ago, so maybe he sees the backlash and comes in as soon as possible, but it's not a great look. You're supposed to be cornerback one of this team, and you didn't play like it last year. So if that was me not playing up to my cornerback one contract I got last year, you're damn right I'd be in that door trying to get this playbook.
You'd be in there day one, right?
100%.
And you'd be in there day one. Yeah, not a great look for coming off underwhelming first season, and it just kind of makes you wonder why he wasn't there. What's more important for him to not be there? But I think quite of the day from day one of the OTAs has to go to Denard Wilson. Obviously, he's talking about his defensive scheme. He was asked about his defensive style. His reply was, "We're going to play nasty. We're going to play physical. We're going to play violent, and live and play on the edge without hurting the team. We're going to be suffocating to the point that we impose our wills upon people, and we're going to play the New York brand of football, and that's violent defense." Sold. Yeah, I'm all for it. Let's do it.
I mean, talk about a strong philosophy. Talk about a strong philosophy coming in, a proper statement of intent. You love to hear it.
Exactly. And also,
our previous defensive coordinator, you don't think he could be violent to a wet paper bag. So it's a shocking turnaround from our defensive attitude, but I love it. Yeah, absolutely loved the defensive coordinator press conference.
If Dex isn't excited by that, then it's like, all right, if that
And it comes back to that thing. Just give the man his money, get it sorted out now. Joe Sheehan, Donna Ponte, get it sorted out, get Dex in the building, get him happy. I want to see that big smiling face again. Do you know what I mean? Walking through the doors. And that will give the defensive lift, in the offseason.
Yeah, give him his money. Talking of roster moves as well, there have been a few in the last couple of days. We signed offensive lineman Lucas Patrick and Falele as well from the Ravens today. That came through this evening, didn't it? Aaron?
Yeah, so Falele's not one I'm surprised about, because obviously it was someone that's played started the last 36 games for the Ravens. He has tape that looks like Evan Neal, where he's not blocking where he should be blocking, and it does seem like there's some very mental mistakes. But he is a big guard, 6'8". I would say he is now the favorite on the current roster to be starting at right guard, but I still think there's a competition there. But yeah, I don't think this precludes us drafting as a guy at 5 or 37. But at the moment, I would say he slots straight into the starting right guard, and I'm nervous. There is some, like I say, there's some bad tape of some bad mistakes, but it's better than we were last week.
Yeah, fair. And what's his name? Lucas Patrick, pretty much a camp body, right?
Yeah, I think, but obviously we lost Austin Schlottman as the backup center. He has potential to he's played guard and center, so he could be coming in as that veteran center backup. Again, wouldn't rule out drafting a center. There's some really good center prospects, as we discussed the other week. Deep in the drafts, day 3 prospects. There's lots of guard tackle converts that could move into center as well. Good year if you want some center depth. So I wouldn't be surprised if we pick someone up in the 5th or the 6th round to fill that, or a UDFA.
Nice. And
just quickly on those two.
on.
Sorry, Dan. The Flaley one, I think everyone knew this was going to happen when Harbaugh signed. We were going to sign. Flaley is going to come across. Harbaugh seems to really read him. Be interested to see how he plays going forward. He's on a vet minimum deal as well, so it's not costing us any big money or anything like that. He's only 26. And I think, he could be an ascending player, hopefully. But the Lucas Patrick one's quite a nice one, I think, because I think he would be considered like a low-end starter, high-end backup. And like Aaron says, he covers all three interior positions. So having someone on the roster like that, so not necessarily a camp body, I think he will genuinely make this roster, and he could see starting time throughout the season with the luck we have in the O-line. So it's a good acquisition.
Yeah, he's had starting time for the Bengals as well, hasn't he? So, it could be a interesting proposition there. And off the back of that as well, we released 4 players: wide receiver Daquan Felton, and 3 defensive backs: Patrick McMorris, TJ Moore, and Miles Purchase. So people making room for potentially a new contract to be signed, maybe freeing up some money. Who knows?
Yeah, well, we haven't hit the roster limit yet, the 90-man roster limit. So even with the 7 predicted draft picks, obviously trades we could increase that or reduce that. There'd still be 8 spots for UDFAs or vets still to come. We're not at the 90-man limit, but these are all guys that were practice squad, bouncing around a little bit, and maybe there's some injuries going on or this, that, and the other, but they're just cleaning up a little bit of some of the depth that on the roster that these guys are unlikely to make the 53 anyway, and maybe they're just fancying different look at someone at a different position in the training camp. And certainly, having the space available for UDFAs, that's, the priority UDFAs can be quite competitive. So having the roster spots available straight away are helpful.
Yeah, and like you said, realistically, none of them are going to make the roster. So clear them out now, make their space available, and, roll on 2 weeks' time, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Cool. All right, moving on then. That was the news. It's top 5 time again. This week, we're on to skill positions on offense. So we're on to running backs and wide receivers. And it will come as no surprise that Kev's chosen Jeremiah Love as running back 1, and so have the other 2. So let's just skip to number 1 and just move on to numbers 2 and 5, yeah? Numbers 2 to 5, sorry.
Yeah, so probably this is probably the most alignment we've had on any position here.
Obviously, feel free to talk about Jeremiah Love.
So here we go. Kev, big reveal. We are all double golden domers. So all of us have gone Jeremiah Love at 1 and Jadrian Price at 2. Both me and Kev, we've both gone for Mike Washington Jr. as our 3rd running back. He's 4 for Shane, and Jonah Coleman is at number 3 for Shane, who features at 4 for Kev and 5 for me. And then we all have Catron Allen as our 5th guy. I have him at 4. Both Kev and Shane have him at 5. So the same 5 guys across us, just a little bit of a change in order in between 3, 4, and 5. So Kev, Golden Domer number 1, Jeremiah Love. Why is he the number 1 running back?
Right. I thought I could try and keep it a bit poppy this week. So I've gone to Jeremiah Love, Notre Dame. He's only 21. We've had him for, he's down on the list for a 30 visit. Last season, he started all 12 games. He won the Doak Walker Award, which is the top running back in the country. He was a Heisman semifinalist, also unanimous All-American, 6 foot, 212 pounds. Last season stats, 200 attempts, over 1,300 yards at 6.9 yards per carry, 18 touchdowns, 27 receptions, 280 yards, 3 touchdowns as well, only 1 fumble, and 39 explosive running plays of 10-plus yards or more. He did a 4.36 40-yard dash, which was phenomenal. I was really hoping he'd come in under 40, under 4.4, sorry. But yeah, what can we say about him? He's got elite long speed, acceleration. Like I said, with that fast 40, he's smooth. He's an explosive runner, excellent footwork. He's got strong pass catching ability. He's shown that in the season. He's also showed it in the combine drills. He's got high-end vision. He's got really good one-cut ability as well. The only real downside was like sometimes he hunts for the big plays too much. So instead of taking the easy yards, he can look to bounce outside a little bit. Can be a little bit overconfident with that. Maybe jumps too much as well. Maybe keep the old hurdling down to a minimum. In the pros, you might get bigger lads drive you into the ground with that. But yeah, I mean, he's good at pass protection as well, although it still needs a little bit developing. But for me, he's just such an electric back, and I mean, he's well worthy of a top 5 pick in this draft.
So, just a quick one here, and I've been thinking about this, and I've not seen it written down anywhere. Maybe it's a little bit of a retro comparison here, but the pro comp I have, and maybe Love has more hype than this guy when he came out. My pro comp is Tiki Barber.
Ooh, okay.
Right, a full three down back can do it all. Is a threat in the receiving game as well as thing. Obviously, Tiki Barber, when retired from the Giants, was the Giants' all-time leading reception leader when he retired. Similar sort of measure size. I think Barber was 5'11", 210. Love's weighed in at 6 foot 212, so it's similar sort of size. Maybe Love's a little bit quicker, maybe, but that could just be modern strengthening and conditioning. And it's that kind of, I quite like that comparison. I've not seen it written down anywhere, but for me, that's the really good comp that I like. And we all know his pro career was phenomenal.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, fair play. Well, I mean, forget about Giants drafting him. Where do you think he actually goes? Do you think he's top 5, top 10 player in this draft?
So, yeah, he's without doubt a prospect that's up there with the likes of Bijan, right? So Bijan obviously went at 8, but in a draft that had more talent, right? So that's kind of the last guy that was on this kind of parity, I would have said. So in a draft with a little bit less quality, him going anytime in the top 10, I think is reasonable. And then, as we'll talk about the rest of the guys, there is a big drop off to the next lot of guys. I don't think any of these other guys are really in consideration to the end of round 2, maybe round 3, before you consider taking any of these other guys. So that might also, if you're desperate for a running back, that might also push him up just a little bit. I'm not saying someone will trade up for him, but they're going, well, I can't wait I don't really want to wait till round 3 for one of these guys, and I've got a starting running back need. You know, the Titans, for example, at 4, and could go for him. I think, as some of the guys have talked about in the chat tonight, I think he's a little bit of a luxury for us. I'm obviously a big Cam Scarborough fan. I really like Tracy. I think what we've seen from the running back position, from a positional value, that lovely term, we can see that we can get value and build a Frankenstein running back from 3 or 4 guys that can really do the committee thing. I think he's a luxury. If we'd filled all of our starting positions with long-term starters and this, that, and the other, taking that luxury pick on this guy, I'd be all for it. But I think it's a year too early for our roster where we are in our build and everything else. He is easily the best running back talent since Bijan for me.
And in all honesty, Bijan as well, like he's been a little bit underwhelming for me since he's come into the league.
I blame the Atlanta Falcons and
exactly.
their offensive coordinator. He's obviously been in a timeshare with Tyler Algier, who's an underrated back. Algier wasn't a bad running back, and when they drafted Bijan in, I think he was in this. He had come off a decent rookie season, and they've always split time, but Bijan's always been the better of that split. But yeah, again, running back, how much influence can you really have? We've seen like Derrick Henry in his last season with the Titans. Everyone said he was washed, but that offensive line was terrible. Goes behind a really good offensive line at the Ravens, and suddenly everyone's like, "Oh, he's not washed." So the offensive line has much more of an effect on the performance from a running back. Even when you have a look at Saquon, the last season he was with us, You know, he didn't look like an all-pro. Goes behind the Eagles' offensive line, nearly breaks the rushing record, right? So there's more to it than running. Running back is like the icing on the cake. But if you haven't got the buttery biscuit base, what's the point of the icing?
Very true. Very true. So I put a question in the comments for those that are watching. I said, if Jeremiah Love is available at pick 5, do you take him, yes or no? Steve, so Holt, you want him now, not overly keen on Love at 5. If they do, I'm certainly on board, but I think have bigger needs in running back. Kieran said, I can see Love going at 4 to the Titans. If he's there at 5, then take him. Who else have we got? Darren says, depends who's available at 5. An extra running back is always nice, but is it a priority? I don't think he's going to be an extra running back. He's going to be the running back if we take him. Kieran says, Love won't be another running back. He'll be the running back. There you go. In my opinion, and will be a game changer for any team. It's very true. So a little bit of split, it comes down to draft night, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, cool. Well,
go on, Kev.
No, go on. I was just going to move on to Jadarian Price and then let you talk about $3. But if you want to say something quickly about Love before we do.
No, I was going to jump on the Jadarian Price as well, but you go ahead. As a Golden Domer, you're best placed.
I love Jadarian Price. I was so hoping that he would come back for another year at Notre Dame. But obviously, he got a lot of good feedback from the NFL Draft Committee to say that he would be a high pick and he'd do quite well if he declared. So he did. But he did serve as number 2 running back behind Jeremiah Love for the last 2 years. He appeared in every game. He handled the ball over 100 times in each season. He comes in at 5'11", 203 pounds. He ran for 113 attempts last year for 674 yards at 6 yards per carry, 11 touchdowns. He had 24 10-plus yard runs. He also had 6 receptions, 87 yards, 2 touchdowns. But also he was a kick returner. He returned 12 kicks for 450 yards and 2 touchdowns. His combined stats were 4.49 40, 35-inch vertical, 10.4 broad, but 21 reps on the bench, which is really good for a running back. To me, he's actually a really complete back. He could do a little bit of everything. He's compact. He's a patient runner. He's got excellent vision, good contact balance, keeps his pad level low, whereas Love pad level can get a little high. And he's a dangerous kick returner. I mean, adding someone like that to the roster just helps all special teams as well. He's a natural receiver with soft hands. One thing I will say about this ball security, he had 2 fumbles last year and 2 or 3 the year before as well. So you'd have to look at them and see why did he fumble the ball and see if it's a bit of a dropsy issue or not. And he's not a true power back. Like I said, he's more of an all-rounded back. And he didn't really was asked to catch the ball in the backfield a lot. Those sort of pass catches went to Jeremiah Love. So, like I said, I think he's a better back than people would have seen because he was sitting behind someone like Jeremiah Love. And he would have started for 90% of other colleges around the country if he was somewhere else. So, very, very good back. I can see him probably going second round, who's sort of where he should go. And then, I think there might be a little bit drop off after him as well. But what do you like about Jadarian Price?
Yeah, he's kind of that explosive complementary back, I think, is where his kind of floor is. And I think he's a guy that's going to come into the league with a view of being a committee back, but then might start taking over a backfield to warrant more and more time. He's certainly
he hasn't got any tread in the tires, has he?
Exactly. But I think, again, from the Giants' point of view and that kind of positional value, him coming in to be a complementary back in our backfield is probably more what we're looking for rather than that absolute number 1 back, because we know we've had some really decent play from Tracy and from Scatterboo, and he's looking like he's going to be healthy in time for this season. So we're looking at just having that complementary feature, and obviously Scatterboo doesn't necessarily have the long speed, and Jadarian Price, although he didn't run super fast time, he has been an explosive player that has explosive runs, largely because his vision's so good. He's a really good cutback runner. I think he did a 4.25 short shuttle, which is that kind of shiftiness that he's got, and a really good time for his short shuttle. So yeah, I think he's just a clean kind of prospect that will I think maybe high floor is probably the right way to describe him. Is that he's not the ceiling prospect that Love is, but I think if you add him into a complementary backfield, you put him in Jacksonville with like Tootin, and those as a 1-2 would be like a nice complementary backfield. You could drop him in at the Cowboys or someone like that, and he fits that kind of running back room that's got an established player, and he's going to come in and slowly take over a backfield. I think, just a talent it's rare that you would see a guy that's in the number one shadow be the number two on our board, but that's how we've ended up with these two guys. And like I say, it's unanimous across the patch. Moving on to Mike Washington. So both me and you have aligned here on Mike Washington from Arkansas being our number two guy. Shane has him at 4, so by no means a knock on him. He's a size speed rocket, so 6'1", 223, so a little bit bigger back, but managed to run a 4.33 at that size. So he's just, a bigger guy that ran incredibly well. And because of that kind of 40 time, I think he's pushed his way up post the combine. He's probably the biggest riser of the running backs post combine. He's got that kind of frame that you look for in a feature back. Good in a straight line, enough explosion for the home runs, and like I said, at 223, he can do the goal line work as well. And sometimes you find with these guys, because they are bigger, they get forced into a goal line role, and I think that would be a mistake with Mike Washington. So I think he ran for 1,000 yards in 2025, 6.4 yards a carry. Probably the standout for me. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if a team preferred him over Jadarian Price, but they'll go close. They might even go 1-2 on the board, like straight after each other. I wouldn't be surprised and again, they on day 2, I would expect them to go, and I would expect them to go late second, early third, those kind of things. But I think it's the things like pass pro that would be the big concern about starting him as your feature back on every down, and probably why he would go on day 2 rather than any higher. Thoughts, Kev?
Yeah, I mean, like, he's a bit of an older prospect, was he? I've got him here as 23, and he's like the new breed of college players, where he started redshirted in 21 at Buffalo, led the team in rushing in 22. He made 4 starts in 23 before transferring to New Mexico State in 24. Then he moved to Arkansas in 25. But he played all 12 games then, and he was second team all SEC. And like you said, he went up for over 1,000 yards last year. It's 6.4 yards per carry. He had 10 runs of 10 plus yards last year, which really goes to show his rare size, speed combo, explosive runner. But I think he is a very good explosive runner in straight lines. So he can run a little bit upright, and his agility side to side isn't great. But to be able to do that at the SEC level, and to be that size and run that fast, like you said, he should be pigeonholed as a thing back. I think he can be an all round back. I mean, So I like him a lot. A lot of people. I like the fact that all 5 of us got the same. 3 of us got the same 5 guys, because I see Washington way down a lot of other people's boards, and I just really like him. I turn on the tape and I'm like, I can see what he does translate to NFL.
Yeah, I think I think he has the potential, like you say, to be a feature back, not just a committee guy. He could be a bell cow. He's got that long pace. He's got that thing. He could be a guy that a bit like we got out of. I think he's a better prospect than Tracy, but what we've seen from Tracy, that he can handle the 25 touches when he needs to. I think that if you value that, you take these guys earlier rather than being a guy that's just a goal line guy or just a third down guy or whatever. So I think that's why for me, I would have him as 3 above these other guys. Shane has Jonah Coleman at 3. You've got him at 4. I've got him at 5. So I think it's only right that we move on to him next. So the quick statement I have for Jonah Coleman is bowling ball.
That's exactly what I've got.
Yeah. So 5'8", I believe, 220 pounds at 5'8". He didn't run at the combine and did not test at the pro, which tells you that maybe his long speed and his numbers aren't quite up there. But in 2025, 758 rushing yards, 15 touchdowns, all-round utility kind of guy used by Washington in there. And again, probably a day 3 back we're now talking about here. Again, it's not, the running back class is nowhere near the quality of last year. It's, we're straight on to, we're at number 3/4 here in the list, and we're on day 3, I think. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's where we're landing. Was really strong. 22 bench reps at the combine. He's going to feature on Angry Runs at some point.
Nice.
It's nailed on. But yeah, just a little bit limited and didn't run, which won't help his draft stock because, yeah, it says a lot when you don't run as a running back.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, teams can pick up the GPS tracking and stuff like that, but they prefer to have apples to apples comparisons with 40 times and short shuttles and like all the stuff like that. Yeah, the first line I wrote was like, bowling ball build with excellent power and balance. Do you mean like he's a smart, savvy runner, and he's got good vision as well. He's decent at catching the ball. I saw him like pretty much catch everything that came his way. Not an extensive right tree, but the swings and the dump offs and stuff. And I just think he'd be, again, talking about like what type of back is he? He's a complimentary back. He's going to be your short yardage, red zone. He's going to have production in the red zone because he does lack the top speed and he doesn't have any burst on the outside of the tackles. He's not going to win that way. But yeah, like I said, in a committee type backfield with your short, faster, you're a slimmer, faster guy. Like you definitely, I think there's a role for him to be able to have that to play in the backfield.
Yeah, he's gonna, he's gonna fill the Cam Scatterby role on another team in the NFL. He doesn't quite have the same kind of highlight tape that Cam Scatterby has, but the similar type role is what you'll see from him. And then the final guy in the 5, Catron Allen from Penn State. So Shane had him at 5, you had him at 5, I had him at 4. Again, another guy that's a no-nonsense power back. He's not flashy, but he logged 1,300 rushing yards, 15 touchdowns, 6.2 yards per carry in 2025. He again, another guy that didn't test at the combine. He's 5'11", 218, 220 in that kind of range. Again, probably a guy again that's not a workout warrior, but you put the tape on, you realize how tough and gritty he is. Football player maybe is the term that people use. Again, will be part of a committee. Will probably get short yardage goal line work early in his career, and then look to build on top of that. But again, another one very similar to Coleman in terms of his prospect outlook, similar type player, but again, a day 3 guy for me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's powerful. He's an efficient runner inside. He's got good vision. Yards after contact's good. He's been durable as well. He's had a lot of carries, although he's shared the backfield with Singleton as well. He was more sort of the pass catching back. Good instincts, but he does lack that long speed. He doesn't catch the ball. You don't really see him catch the ball in the backfield. And he was one of those players that he needs clean blocking. He needs the offensive line to give him lanes to be able to get the yards. He doesn't really create much in the backfield himself. But yeah, another guy, like you said, day 3 guy that will contribute to a team.
Okay, I'm ready for my guys.
I'm interested now.
So running back, my guys. Here we go. So for Shane, Desmond Claiborne from Wake Forest, Seth McGowan from Kentucky, and Jamari Taylor from Virginia for me. So I don't have a lot on Desmond Claiborne, and if you have anything, Kev, I don't know if it's one of the guys that you looked at.
Yeah, out of Wake Forest, what was his testing? This is a great podcast now. Will I just pull up there? So he's 5'10", 195. I don't have much on him now. Like he's ones. I've still got 4 or 5 running backs to watch properly. But what was his stats? I've got his stats here from last year.
So, well, I was just going to say, Kev, maybe one that we'll leave for the draft guide for people to pick up when we put that out very soon. Jamari Taylor for me from Virginia. So late round guy, 6th round. But he's the sort of guy that I think can outplay his draft position. Guy that's got some juice, and you can you can bet on his upside. 6'2", 203. He's a guy that I really like as a kind of late round guy. Played in for Virginia, but also started his career at like a small school, Carolina Coastal or someone like that before making the jump over. Just a guy that's got that kind of upside, that kind of Tracy swing that can be a bit of a catcher, a bit of a runner. I just think he's worth the effort on as a late round guy.
Nice, and I've gone with Seth McGowan of Kentucky. This guy's really interesting, right? He's 24. He's going to be 25, so he's an older prospect. But he's 6 foot, 223 pounds. Last season's stats were 165 rushing attempts, 725 yards, 4.4 per carry, 12 touchdowns. 19 receptions, went for 126 yards. So he played in 7 games as a freshman in Oklahoma in 2020 before being charged with robbery, conspiracy, and assault and battery with a dangerous weapon for stealing marijuana, cash, jewelry, and shoes from an apartment in Oklahoma. That led to jail time and 3 years away from football. He returned because I believe he's turned it around. Like he returned in 2023 to Butler. Then he transferred to New Mexico State in 24, where he started 11 games and earned second team All Conference USA. In 25, he moved to Kentucky and started 10 of 11 games. From the stuff I've sort of read and heard other people say is that he really has like turned things around personally, and like his characters he's the sort of a high character guy now. His 40-yard dash is 4.49, his vertical 4.25, which is the best historically for running backs. 10-11 broad jump, best among running backs this year with a 4.5 shuttle. He's got elite explosiveness. He's thick. He's powerful. He's a real downhill style runner. He's a good receiver as well for his size. I think his RAS score was 9.63. That's free him. It was really, really good. His vision can be a little bit inconsistent. He runs a little bit upright, like so some of the other running backs in this draft do. But it's the off-field concerns that's going to be need to be like delved into. But like I said, apparently from what I've sort of read and seen people say that, he really has sort of that time in jail and the time away from football has changed his perspective completely. And he's really sort of on the straight and narrow now. So he's one that I'm sort of like the traits are there, and he's definitely going to be drafted. He's going to be drafted early-ish on day 3. So I'm kind of like rooting for him a little bit and sort of seeing how he gets on. But yeah, so he's my guy for the running back.
Yeah, and I've got my notes in order now. So Jamari Taylor, it was North Carolina Central was where he was a 1,000-yard back there, then transferred to Virginia. So 1,000-yard back from a small school and a big school, and again, production in college doesn't mean production in NFL. But if you don't produce in college, you're not producing in the NFL, right? So a guy that's done it at a small school and a bigger school. 1,000-yard back-to-back seasons. I'd take the bet on him. Was a Senior Bowl standout as well. So from the game in the Senior Bowl, I think
Nice.
he was a call out from that. So yeah, just one of those guys to pick out.
Only, I will say just quickly before we move on to wide receivers, like you reminded me of something there. There's not going to be there's going to be a lot less of these small school gems in drafts going forward because they're all getting transferred. Like if you talk about Washington there, like he went to like 3 or 4 different schools because players now are getting picked up at smaller schools by the bigger schools, and they're just because you can transfer as much as you want now, whereas before you can only transfer once and sit out a year. Whereas now you can transfer and play as many times as you want. So like
unless a very recent executive order stands up that prevents it. But we'll see if that will stand up over time. And then it's certainly it almost goes the other way, right? If you don't transfer, people think, well, what's wrong with the guy? Like you've produced at a small school, why didn't you produce at a big school? It almost counts against you if you don't transfer. And I think that's wrong. Like if a guy decides to stay at his local college and play his career there, a Texas guy wants to stay in Texas, okay, that's it's not the end of the world if they stay at North Texas Mean Green, for example. It's not, or University Incarnate Word or something like that. If they stay at a small school, you should still consider them. Right. Wide receivers. Now, we might have a little bit of controversy here. Not in the, again, we're pretty well aligned. There's only 6 names that are going to appear across the board here, but we do have some difference at 1. And are you ready for the big reveal? So Kev and Shane have the same number 1 in Carnell Tate from Ohio State, but I have gone for their number 3 guy at number 1 in Jordan Tyson from Arizona State. Shane has Makai Lemon at 2. Kev has him at 5. I have him at 3. So again, we're all over the place with these guys here. Jordan Tyson, like I said, for Shane and Kev was number 3. Makai Lemon for me was number 3. Kev has Omar Cooper Jr. at 2. He's number 4 for Shane, and he doesn't appear in my top 5. I have Casey Concepcion at 4. Kev has Denzel Boston at 4, and Casey Concepcion doesn't appear in the other guys' top 5. And then we all have Denzel Boston in there. I have him at 5. Shane has him at 5. Kev has him at 4. So 6 names on the board. I'm the only one that's got Casey Concepcion on there, and I drop out Omar Cooper Jr., who's 2 for Kev, 4 for Shane. But the controversy at the top. So maybe we start there, Kev. Carnell Tate. Why is he number 1?
Carnell Tate. I've loved him. Like he was on Notre Dame's radar as a high school player, and he was kind of choose between Ohio State and Notre Dame, and obviously he went to Ohio State in the end. But he's still very young. He's got 30 visits for the Giants. He's only 21. Was it 2023 as a freshman? He tragically lost his mother in a drive-by shooting during the season in Chicago. But he still managed, to have a successful season there. But anyway, this past season, he started 11 games. He missed 3 with a calf injury. He was first team All Big Ten. He cemented himself as one of Ohio State's top receivers. He's 6'2", 192, great size for a wide receiver. Last season had 51 receptions, 875 yards, at 17.2 yards per catch with 9 touchdowns. And the stat you love to see, how many drops did he have last year? Big
same as the Ohio logo, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I just think like he's such a polished route runner. He's got really good sort of like pacing and tempo, as in like he just doesn't run every route as fast as possible to get to a spot. He uses like real good tempo and pacing to sort of like throw the defenders off. Got strong hands, elite body control, good for a big receiver. He just consistently wins contested catches. I mean, 50-50 catches with him, we said a lot, are pretty much 70-30. Like, he is that good at going up and get the ball. He's a good separator vertically as well. High football IQ. Ohio used him all over the field in different alignments. I mean, you might criticize his straight line speed. You know, it's 4.53.
So just to come in on that point, right? He's too slow at 4.53. So the 2026 receiving yards leaders, and they're 40 times, right?
Right.
Puka Nakua, 4.57. Jackson Smith and Jigba, 4.52. Jamar Chase, 4.34. Okay, there's one that's considerably faster. George Pickens, 4.47. So only 0.05 faster. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 4.59. CD Lamb, 4.50. Drake London didn't run. Probably would have run slower if he didn't run. Nico Collins, 4.45. And ninth in the list, Trey McBride. And as a tight end, probably didn't run faster than 4.5, right? so the top 10 guys in receiving yards, you know, apart from Chase and London, who didn't run, were all within 0.05 of the kind of time set by Tate. So no concerns here. And just if you want to look at the fastest 30 wide receivers in combine history, right? How many of these names were Pro Bowlers, right? How many of these names are you like second contract, right? Xavier Worthy was the fastest. Dante Stallworth, second fastest. John Ross, Anthony Schwartz, Dre Archer, Henry Ruggs III, Marquise Goodwin, Jerome Mathis, Tyquan Thornton, Jacoby Ford, JJ Nelson, Matthew Golden, Darius Hayward Bay. How many Pro Bowlers have I listed there? And that's the 10 fastest wide receivers of all time. Or 15 fastest wide receivers all time. Yeah. I think you've got to get down to Santana Moss at 17 to find a guy who's made a Pro Bowl. So, I'm not too worried about 4.53.
Not at all. And like I said, he wins routes, like I said, with his pacing and tempo and his football IQ. I mean, in space, he's fantastic. He could get a few more yards after the catch, as in contact. You know, usually the first tackler to him brings him down. That's the only real downside, to be honest. Like, I think he's such a prototypical X wide receiver. And that's why, for me, like, I just love the big body wide receivers on the outside. So that's why I've gone as number one. So why do you hit him then?
So having him at 2, it's clearly not hate, right? So again, I have him as the safest wide receiver prospect in this class, right? He's absolutely an NFL receiver, smooth separator, great at the catch point. You don't need to project what he's going to do in the NFL. You know he's going to be good. The knocks on him maybe is he's never been the number one receiver, because obviously the number one receiver at Ohio is staying in school and coming back next year. But so there's this guy. Is he a true number one? And do you want to pay a top 5 for a true number one? You know, there is some correlation, and maybe this is more of a fantasy stats look at it, that, you know, a percentage of your targets in a receiver room has a fairly good correlation to NFL success. He obviously only had 51 catches in 2025 because he wasn't the number one guy in an offense. And maybe that's the only reason why I kind of have him at 2. Going back to my number 1, Jordan Tyson. You guys have him at 3, so clearly you hate Jordan Tyson. and I can predict why you might have him further down the list, but I'm taking the full upside swing here. So here is the highest ceiling of all of these guys in the thing. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't want to draft him at 5. I
was going to ask.
I would prefer Tate at 5 because I want the safer pick for us. But as a if we were to trade down and bank some capital and not pay that kind of high pick, I'd be more comfortable taking Tyson. Big, strong, flexible, above the rim, kind of go and get the catch, contested catch, doesn't drop the ball prospect. He didn't run or jump at the combine because essentially he's been coming back off injury. And this is the biggest knock on him. He's had an ACL, he's had a shoulder, he's had a hamstring in separate seasons. But I don't believe injury prone is a real thing. I think people have bad luck, and his injuries he's all healed from, right? So hamstring one's probably the one I'm most concerned about, right? More than I am the ACL and the shoulder, right? And part of the reason he's got injuries, he's a guy that doesn't quit. He doesn't take himself out of the game. He's not a soft receiver. He's a dog. He wants to compete. And maybe to his own detriment, he's led to get to injuring himself when he's not at 100%. And I just think he's got the thing. He put 26 bench reps up, which is the most at this year's combine for wide receivers, and one shy for the wide receiver combine record. So he's incredibly strong. He, from a tape alone, from statistics alone, taking the injury out of it, it's not even close, in my opinion. He is the number one wide receiver, but the injury red flag will put some teams off. And like I said, I'm not sure I'd want to commit a top 5 pick to someone with this injury history. But if you're bold, you can be rewarded with this guy. If you go, right, I'm not going to worry about the injury, you could walk away with a steal in this draft if he slides because of his injury.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all that. And like, in all transparency, for me, early on in the process, Carnell Tate and Jordan Tyson were 1A, 1B. Because like Tyson is an elite route runner. He's so sharp in and out of his cuts. He's got strong contested catchability as well, excellent body control, just like Tate. I love his versatility though. He can play X, Z, or in the slot. Yeah. And he's physical and tough, like you said. So he brings that dog mentality again, like you said. Straight line speed. We wonder how quick he is in straight line speed. We haven't been able to test that, so that harms him as well. And I loved watching him play. For me, and it's a bit of a cop-out, but the knee injury, the shoulder injury, and the hamstring injury, every single year sort of he was playing in college, something happened. For me, just knocked him down a bit, if I'm honest. And that's the only reason, the injuries, like you said.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go on to Cooper Jr. Your number 2, Kev. Doesn't feature in my top 5. I think, again, I have all of these guys incredibly close. It's a little bit horses for courses. Omar Cooper Jr. would just slide out of my top 5. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I think he's a bit of a screen merchant, and some of his production is a little bit fake.
Oh, that's a very good take, to be fair. I just think he's like a jack of all trades, I just think like he's got an explosive first step. He's good, really good in the slot. He like really threatens vertically from the slot. He's got great production against top competition as well. He went out there and played the best. He was like formidable in Indiana's undefeated season to the national championship this year. He's got reliable hands. I mean, that catch of the year against Penn State with 30 seconds left to win the game and sort of keep their undefeated season alive was just pure class. And I just think for me, like I think Tyson's a better receiver. But I just think he sort of does a little bit of everything for me. He ticks a lot of boxes without sort of excelling at anything. He's got great yard after the catch as well. And he's another one that he will fight for extra yards. He will get you, if he catches the ball 2 yards short of the first down, he will fight to get over that line to get the first down for the team. I just love that mentality as well. So I just think like he's not a top 10 pick for me by any means, but I do think he'll go somewhere later in the first round.
Yeah, and like I said, like I worry a little bit about his screen production, but he's a for me second round wide receiver prospect, and sometimes it's a product of the offense that you're in, right? how many times did we see us throw a lot of screens to Wanda, and then we saw him lose a little bit more downfield, and he could manage it, right? So some of it's a product of your play caller, and not terribly down on him. Obviously, Shane has him at 4. The guy that both me and Shane have over him, you got him at 5. Shane's got him at 2. I've got him at 3. Mackay Lemon, due for a 30 visit either today or tomorrow with the Giants, I believe, but from USC. And the reason why I have him at 3, he is a pro-ready wide receiver, very much a technician. Won the Bolitnikov after 79 catches, 1,156 yards, 11 touchdowns. Polished route runner, ball skills, inside out kind of guy again. Probably some guys may want to play him more in the slot, a bit like Amon-Ra St. Brown, but can do it on the outside. He's not limited into that. 4.46, 4.47 40. Again, 5'11", 192, so maybe not prototypical size for the wide receiver, and again, why he gets that kind of, maybe he's a slot guy, but again, I think he can do it on the outside. Very weird combine interview. If you've seen that on the podium, a little bit out there. But would be, for me, as a prospect profile, would be an upgrade over Wandale if we were to draft him to come and play in the slot. He's bigger than Wandale, but has that kind of same capability. And like I say, he's more of an Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devonta Smith type slot than Wandale was. But a prospect I like a lot. But I have the other 2 guys in a slight tier above him. But I know some people will like Lemon as their number 1 guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a good player. He's tough. He's physical. You know, he played the slot. He can play outside. He's got great at the catch point. Like, he does come down with a lot of contested catches. My worry is that he comes down with a lot of contested catches. It's always contested. And I don't know if that will translate to the NFL, where you're going to naturally have bigger, faster, tougher DBs on him. Great yards after the catch ability as well. Volume receiver. Everyone kind of knew he was getting the ball. He still got the ball a lot. I think bigger defenders, like the bigger slots, nickels, third safety, stuff like that, can kind of knock him off his roots a bit too easily. And I don't know if he's like the right kind of guy, though. Like I said, about the strange behavior at the combine, I think he could rub a lot of teams up the wrong way, the way he sort of brings himself across. But I mean, like, I've been watching him play Notre Dame as well. I mean, he didn't have one of his better games. He had quite a poor game both times I watched him. So I kind of like thought to myself, oh, okay, well, he's not that good then. And then obviously watching against other teams, and he sort of plays really well against sort of lesser competition. So yeah, for me, it's kind of like I can see the appeal with him, but yeah, I don't know. And it's not my hatred for USC either. I just don't. It's sort of like, just, you know, you see a player sometimes, you're just like, nah, he's not quite for me. But you know, he's still in my top 5, so I still think he's a very, very good player and will be productive at the next level.
So for me, I have Casey Concepcion at 4. I'll just cover him off before we move on to Denzel Boston, who we've all got. For me, similar mold to Lemon, but for me, definitely a slot guy. But I like him as that Wandale role. But again, he's bigger than Wandale. He's 6 foot, 196. He didn't run the 40. There's no kind of time. I don't have a good time for him. 61 catches, 919 yards, 9 touchdowns out of Texas A&M. Excellent returner as well. Can use him as that manufactured screen guy, but his production doesn't rely on that manufactured screen stuff out of A&M. I like him as that move. You want a guy that's going to get a stress of defense, put him in motion, make him move the defense around, that kind of thing. Obviously, will go a bit lower than some of these other guys because he's a slot, but could hear his name on day 1 at the bottom of the first, or certainly is in play for us at 37. For me, is you know, he would be a different receiver to what we've currently got on the roster. and would backfill that Wandale Robinson void at slot.
Yeah, definitely. I like him a lot. I have him number 6, so I was very close to putting him at number 5 instead of Lemon because Lemon rubs me up the wrong way. But I again against Notre Dame, he was outstanding. He was coming down with stupid catches, and I'm like, oh my, it's on 3rd and long, and you're like, brilliant. Our defense will have this no problem. Make the quarterback run around the pocket, and he fires it downfield, and you're like, incompletion, fantastic. Concepcion comes down with the ball, and you're like, come on, man, Jesus. So he's got that big playability, but then he drops easy passes. I think he's got over 10% drop rate this season, and you're like, how can you go up and pluck the ball in the air with a 6'3" DB all over you, make it look so effortless, and yet no, you're wide open. The ball's a little bit in front of you. You should be catching it, and you can't bring it in. So that was kind of my worry. But if he's there at 37, it's a no-brainer for me. I think he would fit into this system really well, I think, at the Giants.
Okay. And then finally, Denzel Boston, number 4 for you, 5 for me and Shane. What do you think, Denzel Boston? Kev?
Yeah, I like Denzel Boston a lot. Out of Washington, 22. Was it in 23? He played 14 games, but he was starting behind a wide receiver room that had Rome Odunze, Jalen Polk, Jalen McMillan. So he didn't see much actual time on the field. But then 24 became a full-time starter, 13 games. He got Offensive Player of the Year. And then last season, 11 out of 12 games, he was 3rd team All Big Ten. He briefly missed a little bit of time with an ankle injury. But yeah, these are the type of receivers I really like. And we need as well. 6'4", 212, 62 receptions, 881 yards, a 14.2 average, 11 touchdowns, only 3.1% drop rate. He had a 35-inch vertical, 4.28 shuttle, 3 cone is 6.8, which is phenomenal. He's your prototypical X receiver, big size, strong hands, excellent red zone weapon. He wins above the rim, like you talk about basketball reference. Really good mover for his size. Apart from not running the 40 as well, which kind of doesn't show his speed. I'd love to know what his actual speed was.
And I think this is why he's certainly a guy that's been falling. So at the start, pre-combine, he was a top 20 guy overall. Was maybe even in the conversation for the number 3 wide receiver in the class, and has now started to fall down boards. And I've now seen him mocked to us at 37, which if he's available at 37, I would love. Again, 6'4", 212, different guy. Knock on him is that he doesn't show he's more catch and fall down, a catch and get tackled. He doesn't break tackles, these kind of things. But again, he's a different frame. He gives you a different, he's more Mike Evansy than some of the other things. And like I said, a lot of these guys we've been talking about, they're 6 foot, 6'1", 5'11". He's 6 foot, a proper 6'4". Again, yeah, didn't run the 40, which is why I think he's falling.
I'd love to know what his top end speed is.
But originally, I had him as my guy that I really preferred out of these top 5. He's fallen. I didn't think there was a way we were going to get him because I thought he was going to go at the bottom of round 1. Now that he's talking potentially a day 2 guy, I'm getting a little bit excited about that opportunity. Right, that's the top 5 done. The bit I've been waiting for all draft month or prospect month that we've been going on here, the my guys. This is the my guys for me, right? If anyone's been in our chat, he would have seen him pages. You won't find him listed as a wide receiver on the PFF. You'd have him listed as a fullback. He's not a fullback. So my guys, Shane, Skylar Bell, a lovely prospect that I really like. I love Ted Hurst as well from Georgia State. Kev, you're my guy. But the only my guy that's worth discussing is Eli Heidenreich from Navy. This is the guy that was the entire Navy offense. He ran the ball for 700 yards. He had 700 yards receiving. He lined up all over the place. Was just a phenomenal production. went to the combine, did really well at the combine, and I've heard a number of people been moving him late up draft boards from potentially being undrafted into a solid day 3 guy as a candidate. 6 foot 198, 35.5-inch vertical, 10-foot broad jump, 4.03 short shuttle. He's not everybody, but he could be. There is a greater than 0 chance that he is the white Percy Harvin. Right? Yeah.
Nice.
He is. Yes. Navy's offense is gimmicky and fake and all this kind of thing, but there aren't. Over the last 25 years, there's been 3 running backs at the combine to run the 3-cone drill at 6.65. That's Chris Rainey, that's Christian McCaffrey, and Ray Rice. Eli Heidenreich ran 6.55 at his pro day, so he's in unheard of running back receiver category. I would have him as a slot, and that's how I would play him. I'd move him into the slot, but obviously can do some of those end around. You can motion him into the backfield, and he can take a handoff. But again, since 1977, these are the top 5 guys per pass attempt in terms of their total, the total yards per team pass attempt. Right, 5th all time. A guy you may have heard of. He's in the Hall of Fame. His name is Tim Brown. At 4 all time, Eli Heidenreich. 3 all time, Hartley Dykes. Might not have heard of him. 2nd all time, Hall of Famer Marvin Harrison Sr. And 1st all time, Demaryius Thomas, a 5-time Pro Bowler. So that I can make the stats work on this guy. That he has a standout profile that kind of just says best receiving yardage market share. You've got a guy called Art Monk, who was number 5 all time, Hall of Famer. Lance Allworth, 1961, 44%, Hall of Famer. And number 1 on this list, Eli Heidenreich. So he is a guy that was all of Navy's offense. A guy that that was clearly too good to be in this kind of role at a school like Navy. Obviously, transferring out of Navy is probably harder than a lot of these other schools because of the way that you get your scholarship and these kind of things. But just a guy, 6th round, I'm taking him. Right, if he's on the board in the 6th round, I'm taking him. I do not care. Sorry, that's my. He's my Cam Scatterboo guy.
I was going to say, sounds like you're having a bit of a Scatterboo moment there, Aaron.
Yeah, I am. So yeah,
I mean, we have to draft tonight.
Yeah. Ted Hurst, quick one, Kev, on Ted Hurst.
Yeah, so Ted Hurst, he's one of the guys in for a 30 visit as well. He's 22 out of Georgia State, 6'4", 206, the ex-receiver, outside receiver, 71 receptions over 1,000 yards, 14.1 yards per reception, 6 touchdowns, 4'4", 240, which is fantastic, 36.5 vertical, and 11.3 broad jump, which is the best among wide receivers. Like I said, he's just your prototypical size speed blend of a long explosive athlete. He's fluid. He's a natural deep threat, good acceleration. He's got strong hands. He's got willingness to work over the middle. He's got excellent production, although he did go to a small school. I'd like to see him against better competition. So you've got to work on that. Some concentration jobs, but nothing I don't think with some practice that you can't overcome. But I just think, if we could get him at the right spot, I think he could develop into a starting X receiver in the league.
Yeah. And that takes us to the end of the positions. Dan, have we got time to squeeze a little mock draft in?
We've always got time to squeeze a mock draft in, Mayo. Come on.
Oh, hello.
Of course we have.
And to set the scene, Dan, just to make this one a little bit different, how about we Dexter Lawrence is traded, given this week's news, and what does that look like?
Oh, damn.
Wow.
Here we go. Boom. Alrighty. So
Okay, so
Dexter Lawrence.
I saw this trade out there in the ether, and I think this is the upside of what we could make. I think possibly we would give a sixth back the other way in this one as well. But as we're only going to do the first 4 rounds here, I think it's irrelevant. I think this is, we pick up a 4 next year as well, a 1 and a 2. I think if it's not this sort of level, I'm definitely not tempted. I don't think it's going to happen. But what obviously that this leaves us with a massive hole at defensive tackle. So what does the draft look like? What can we do in this scenario? Let's take it away.
So obviously we're going to make the trade, and that obviously means we've got pick 5 and pick 10 in round 1, and then we've got pick 37 and pick 41 in round 2. So we've got 2 firsts and 2 seconds. Let's get going. So on the clock at number 5.
So I don't think there's a defensive tackle that's worthwhile in the conversation here at 5, right? And we've all talked it to death. We all love Sonny Styles. Just take Sonny Styles.
Agreed.
Yeah, happy with that. Yeah, cool. Sonny Styles it is.
Right. Now here, this is what I was hoping for, right? Caleb Downs is still here. Can you imagine walking out of this draft with Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs? Now, again, I don't think there's a defensive tackle in the discussion here. The other place what we could talk about here, obviously, is what is the wide receivers. So we've had Tate go off the board. So Tyson, Lemon is here. But look at the names further down. There's a load of guys that I still like that you can come and get in the second. So
don't forget we've got 2 picks at the beginning of the second round as well. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we can get, like I said, we've seen Denzel Boston slide. We've seen Casey Conception get into that second round. I'm okay to leave wide receiver here. The other option is tackle or guard and Fano or Vega, these kind of things. But I like the idea of playing Downs and Styles here, Kev.
Yeah, I agree. You can't turn them down. I mean, Downs is in the conversation at number 5 anyway with Sonny Styles. So to get him here at 10s.
So I think we pull the trigger on Downs here and just win day 1 of the draft.
Double dip on defense. I like that a lot. Caleb Downs. There we go.
So
alrighty.
Here we go. This is
37.
what I was.
Here we go.
This is the perfect range now for one of these defensive tackles, right? I think you've obviously got Casey Conception, who's my number 4 guy, who's tempted me here. But knowing that we've got this massive problem at defensive tackle, Caleb Banks, Peter Woods. Do you fancy those 2 guys? I think probably that we'll find that Ohio State McDonald's already gone. McDonald.
Yeah, so for me here, is Christian Miller still on the board? I have Christian Miller first, and I think he's a bigger plugger.
Christian Miller's gone at 31 to New England.
So for me, I think Peter Woods here would be a good call.
Yeah, we obviously don't have a 3rd round pick still, so the likes of Big Citrus, they're out of the way. Corleone might be available in the 4th round.
I would get Peter Woods a penetrating 3 technique here and look for your run stuffer plugger in the leader on the draft.
Yeah, so I'm in agreement. I can't leave defensive tackle, even though I would love Casey Conception here. He might go in between these 3 picks. But I just think defensive tackle with no Dex on the team is too important to pass up this time. So yeah, Peter Woods.
Peter Woods. Casey Conception went to Kansas City the pick before.
Yeah. So I thought he would. So yeah. There's some. What we've got wide receiver. I don't love the value of wide receiver here. There's some guys again, Skylar Bell, who was Shane's my guy. Again, probably falls in a bit that we don't have a pick. There are guys again. Ted Hurst could be available when we pick at 102. I'm okay to leave wide receiver. It's not ideal. The other position I'm worried about is cornerback. We could obviously we've got Downs in the secondary here, but Cisse, Pons, Johnson, I love all of them. They're all exciting for me at this spot.
Yeah, for me, I'd go with someone along the lines of Johnson or Cisse or a guard.
Yeah, that's the other option is guard. So again, but Bisontis is exciting here.
Yeah, Bisontis or Rutledge. So between Rutledge, Bisontis, Cisse, Johnson for me.
Yeah. So maybe because we've invested so heavily in the defense, maybe we should take the guard here. Although my gut says take the cornerback here, and we can find some more O linemen later on. But I just feel like 3 picks on defense. My offensive coordinator might not be happy if I take another.
Say if we have 2 firsts and 2 seconds and we go defense with all 4 of them. So
yeah. So maybe we should take Bisontis here.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think we go guard here.
Lock it in.
Happy with that, boys? Yeah. And then we go all the way to 105.
Yeah.
And there we go.
Yeah. So again, corner can be addressed here with Malik Muhammad. And I like Will Lee the third as well at this kind of stage. You've also got the possibility of we still haven't addressed wide receiver. So who's on the board at wide receiver? I don't love the value of wide receiver here. The guys that could have fallen out of the third round didn't.
Shane definitely might want to take Eric McAllister. You're saying.
So
DC wide receivers.
Yeah. I don't love the wide receiver value at this point.
Ted Hurst went at 100 to Jacksonville.
I think the additions of the free agency wide receivers means that we don't have to push for something we're not keen on for this draft. So I'd be looking at cornerback now.
Yeah. So
I'd be looking at Demings, Muhammad, Everett, Lee, Neal.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm okay with Malik Muhammad here.
Nice.
To round this draft off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Boom, boom, boom.
So how do you feel about, obviously we've lost Dex. We've still got a 4th next year to add into the mix. But if you walked out with Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs, how do you feel like that's? And obviously Peter Woods is one of the places to go in there. We'd have to add a veteran. We've obviously would have created a load of cap room with the process that we could go and sign a DJ Reader still. It's interesting. I'm not sure it's better because obviously we would still get one of Sonny Styles. In this scenario, we'd still get Sonny Styles. This Caleb Downs that we've added, and the ability to replace directly with a defensive tackle, and then obviously still add the guard in the second round. So all you've really gained is Caleb Downs, but that's potentially the best player or top 3 player in the draft.
My worry is that we won't get anything near that offered for him.
This is what I'm saying. And this is where I'm saying right. Even with this crazy offer, does this really improve us? Because all we add is one talent piece on a defense at a lower value position, and does that really help us? Obviously, we'll have loads of cap space moving forward. We'll have 25 million a year of cap space that we can play around with over and above what we currently have. But even with this high level offer, that's it's not unrealistic. It's just on the really high end of what we would get. And I just wanted to do that experiment just to kind of let people understand what it actually works out like.
Yeah. Oh, what's going on the screen here? There we go.
Oh.
There we go. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the Stars and Downs picks, but at the same time, I'd still rather have Dexter Lawrence, I'd still rather have Dexy.
Yes, sir.
It's just it's interesting though, isn't it? It makes you think like what could we potentially get for Dex? Whether we'd get that much, like I said, we'd probably have to throw a pick in there. like a late round pick in there for the Bengals, but yeah, I just think you've got to be open to all possibilities, right? At this stage. So that's potentially what a draft could look like if we did decide to trade Dex away for a first and a second this year. It's very defensive heavy, I must say, but
yeah, but I think obviously, to go in defense heavy, it's where the strength of this draft is, for sure. Obviously the timing of the wide receivers didn't match up with where we would do. There's still option to pick up a wide receiver later in that, fifth or the sixth round. We've got 3 picks in the sixth round. We pick up some guys that can have some opportunity to contribute. Obviously, Eli Heidenreich could come in and be our slot guy in the 6th round.
You're wishing,
kind of things can happen. So, but it was just interesting that it would be franchise resetting, but not necessarily a rebuild move, if you know what I mean. Like, it's not like we completely have nothing and this kind of thing. It's survivable if this is the only option. But obviously, if you do it after the draft, like the Cowboys did with Micah Parsons, you do it. So really, we've got to resolve this situation in the next 2 weeks if we're going to trade him now, because you don't get the chance to replace him until 2027 draft, which might be better value, might be a stronger draft, but ifs and buts, and it might not be.
Yeah, precisely that. Exactly. All right, cool. Got to love a mock draft to end the show, right? Who doesn't? Unfortunately, that is all we have time for this evening. We'll be back next Thursday when we'll only be a week away from the 2026 draft, boys, as we round out the top 5s at each position, finishing off with quarterbacks and tight ends, because we don't need a quarterback and we don't need a tight end, so we thought we'd leave them to last. Plus, there might be some mock drafts to look forward to as well. So make sure you tune in then. Anything else to add before we go, guys?
Nothing from me. It was a fun one. Good to do the skill position players on offense, and yeah, can't wait. One more to go, and we might find the draft Bible shortly on its way as well.
Woo!
Nice little tease there. Yeah, right. Good show tonight, lads. Glad to get on. Glad to talk some prospects with you. Like I said, only 2 weeks tomorrow, the first round, and there'll be a lot of coverage of the draft. So obviously, keep tuned here and see what's coming.
Yeah, exactly that. We're looking to bring you a various amount of content over draft weekend. So keep it here. Keeping an eye on the YouTube channel on X. There's going to be an array of content coming out over the course of the draft weekend. Lots to look forward to. We're certainly looking forward to it here. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see who or where we go with pick number 5. We'll find out 2 weeks tomorrow. Thanks to everyone for watching and listening this evening. For your comments, as usual, we appreciate the love and you guys getting involved. And my thanks, as ever, go to Kev and to Aaron for joining me. We're signing off. Until next time, let's go Giants.